Shalom, all you members who joined the channel. I want to just take this time to thank you first for joining, and I want to do some shout outs and then we'll get right into the video. Okay, so Chosen for Purpose, thank you for joining the channel. Todd Mullins, thank you for joining. James Brother Washington Jr., thank you for joining the channel. The True Narrative, thank you for joining. Keisha Watkins, Baruch Yu, thank you for joining. Meeting Place, thanks for joining my channel. J Yisrael TV, I appreciate you, thank you for joining. And Yahuel Zadik, I appreciate you as well, thank you for joining the channel. Calvin Andrus, thank you very much for joining. Tanjiya, Black to My Roots, I love that, thank you. Johnny Daniels, Lil Man, and Christina, I appreciate you all, blessings. Demetrius McNeil, thank you for joining. And I apologize if I get this name wrong, but I will try. Kondawani Kankondo, thank you very much for joining the channel. I appreciate you. I see you on a lot. Michael Yasharel, thank you for joining the channel. I appreciate all that you do. You are a great support. Phila Yahoo, thank you for joining. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining the channel. And because I know that my other YouTube subscribers are going to be watching this at some point, thank you all for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate your support and all that you do here on the platform. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Today I'm going to be piggybacking off of my last video titled The Bible's Graphic Description of Esau's Judgment. You won't believe it's in the scriptures. We're going to be looking into the book of Jubilees today and how it plays a role in connection to the book of Obadiah and the destruction of Esau. The book of Jubilees, also known as Lesser Genesis, is an ancient Hebrew text that retells the stories of Genesis and Exodus with a focus on the chronology of events. And it emphasizes the concept of Jubilees, or periods of 49 years. It is part of the Torah, or the first 5 books of the Bible, offering detailed accounts of biblical figures, laws, and genealogies. Today I want to look at the connection between the book of Obadiah and the book of Jubilees. If you've already read the book of Obadiah, or if you watched my last 2 videos, then you know that the book of Obadiah is about the fate of Edom. It's the prophecies of the destruction of Esau because of its actions against Israel. So today I want to take a look at how Jubilees provides historical and prophetic context to Obadiah's vision by detailing the Esau and Jacob rivalry and Edom's future downfall. So both books emphasize YAH'S justice and Edom's betrayal of Israel that leads to its ultimate destruction. Okay, so let's look at the conflict between Jacob and Esau, the origin. We can find this in Jubilees chapter 37, verses 1 through 24. But first, let's read Obadiah. It says in chapter 1 and verse 10 says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." Now, I want you guys to listen closely to Jubilees chapter 37, because the rivalry is no longer between just Esau and Jacob, but the descendants of Esau and Jacob. Jubilees chapter 37, starting at verse 1 reads, "And on the day that Isaac, the father of Jacob and Esau, died, the sons of Esau heard that Isaac had given the portion of the elder to his younger son Jacob, and they were very angry. And they strove with their father, saying, Why has your father given Jacob the portion of the elder and passed over you, although you are the elder and Jacob is the younger? And he said unto me, Because I sold my birthright to Yaakov for a small mess of lentils. And on the day my father sent me to hunt and catch and bring him something that he should eat and bless me, he came with guile and brought my father food and drink, and my father blessed him and put me under his hand. And now our father has caused us to swear, me and him, that we shall not mutually devise evil either against his brother, and that we shall continue in love and in peace, each with his brother, and not make our ways corrupt. And they said unto him, We shall not listen unto you to make peace with him, for our strength is greater than his strength, and we are more powerful than he. We shall go against him, and slay him, and destroy him, and his sons, and if you will not go with us, we shall do hurt to you also. And now listen unto us, let us send to Aram, and Pelesheth, and Moab, and Ammon, and let us choose for ourselves chosen men who are ardent for battle, and let us go against him, and do battle with him, and let us exterminate him from the earth before he grows strong. And their father said unto them, Do not go, and do not make war with him, lest ye fall before him. And they said unto him, This too is exactly your mode of action from your mouth until this day, and you are putting your neck under his yoke. We shall not listen to these words. And they sent to Aram and to Aduram, to the friend of their father, and they hired along with them 1,000 fighting men, chosen men of war. These verses describe the growing conflict between Esau's descendants, Edom, and Jacob's descendants, Israel. After the deaths of their forefathers, Esau's sons settle in Mount Seir and become powerful rulers of the land. However, they are not content with their territory and plot to invade Canaan and take back the inheritance that Jacob received from Isaac. Esau gathers his sons and allies, organizing a military attack against Jacob and his descendants. This reflects Esau's long-standing jealousy over Jacob's blessing and his refusal to accept that Yah chose Jacob as the rightful heir. Despite their efforts, this battle foreshadows Edom's ultimate defeat and decline, as seen later in prophecy, Obadiah 1:18. It reads, And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahuwah had spoken it. And so even though Esau's descendants remain in conflict with Israel, Yahuwah promises that he will always favor Yaakov. Okay, so let's go back to Jubilees chapter 37, and we're going to start reading from verse 10. And it reads, And there came to them from Moab and from the children of Ammon those who were hired 1,000 chosen men, and from Pelesheth 1,000 chosen men of war, and from Edom and from the Korim 1,000 chosen fighting men, and from the Kittim mighty men of war. And they said unto their father, Go forth with them and lead them, else we shall slay you. And he was filled with wrath and indignation on seeing that his sons were forcing him to go before them to lead them against Yaakov his brother. But afterward he remembered all the evil which lay hidden in his heart against Yaakov his brother. And he remembered not the oath which he had sworn to his father and to his mother, that he would devise no evil all his days against Yaakov his brother. And notwithstanding all this, Yaakov knew not that they were coming against him to battle. And he was mourning Leah his woman, until they approached very near to the tower with 4,000 warriors and chosen men of war. And the men of Chevron sent to him, saying, Behold, your brother has come against you to fight you, with 4,000 girt with a sword. And they carry shields and weapons, for they loved Yaakov more than Esau. So they told him, for Yaakov was a more liberal and merciful man than Esau, but Yaakov would not believe until they came very near to the tower. And he closed the gates of the tower, and he stood on the battlements, and spoke to his brother Esau, and said, Noble is the comfort wherewith you have come to comfort me for my woman who has died. Is this the oath that you did swear to your father and again to your mother before they died? You have broken the oath, and on the moment that you did swear to your father were you condemned? And then Esau answered and said unto him, Neither the children of men nor the beasts of the earth have any oath of righteousness, which is swearing they have sworn an oath valid forever. But every day they devise evil one against another, and how each may slay his adversary and foe. Esau's sons continue plotting against Jacob's family even until today, believing that they have a right to take back the inheritance of Canaan. In these verses, Esau's sons gathered allied nations to strengthen their attack. This reflects the ongoing hostility towards Israel even today. So in these verses 13 through 16, Jacob's sons recognize the threat and prepare for battle. They rely on Yahuwah's guidance and strength to defend themselves. This mirrors how Israel would later have to fight against Edom and other nations for survival. So as we read, this conflict erupted into battle, with both sides clashing over the land. Despite Esau's strength, Jacob's descendants remain victorious due to Yah's covenant. And again, this foreshadows Edom's downfall as prophesied in Obadiah 1:18, where Israel will ultimately overcome and destroy Edom's wicked kingdom. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish up chapter 37 of Jubilees. Starting at verse 19, it says, And you do hate me and my children forever. Let's read that again. And you do hate me and my children forever, and there is no observing the tie of brotherhood with you. Hear these words which I declare unto you. If the boar can change its skin and make its bristles as soft as wool, or if it can cause horns to sprout forth on its head like the horns of a stag or of a sheep, then will I observe the tie of brotherhood with you. And if the breasts separated themselves from their mother, for you have not been a brother to me, and if the wolves make peace with the lambs, so as not to devour or do them violence, and if their hearts are towards them for good, then there shall be peace in my heart towards you. And if the lion becomes the friend of the ox and makes peace with him, and if he is bound under one yoke with him and plows with him, then will I make peace with you. And if when the raven becomes white as the raza, then know that I have loved you and shall make peace with you. You shall be rooted out, and your sons shall be rooted out, and there shall be no peace for you. And when Yaakov saw that he was so evilly disposed towards him with his heart, and with all his soul, as to slay him, and that he had come springing like the wild boar which comes upon the spear, that pierces and kills it, and recoils not from it, then he spoke to his own and to his servants, that they should attack him and all his companions. As you can see, Esau and his descendants were filled with wrath and indignation, and there was evil that laid hidden in his heart against his brother Jacob. And this evil was so strong toward his brother that he couldn't even uphold the oath that he made with his mother and his father, that he would be at peace with his brother. Esau's heart was so evil against his brother Jacob that he couldn't even put his anger aside while Jacob mourned the loss of his wife Leah. In Jubilees chapter 37 verses 19 through 25, Esau is telling his brother Jacob that the conflict between them and their descendants is inevitable, telling them that peace is no longer possible. If you look at verse 20, where Esau says, if the boar can change its skin and make its bristles as soft as wool, or if it can cause horns to sprout forth on its head like the horns of a stag or a sheep, then will I observe the tie of brotherhood with you. He says, if the breasts separated themselves from their mother, for you have not been a brother to me. What is this that Esau is saying to his brother Jacob? He's explaining, and he uses vivid examples to show that making peace is impossible. This is why I find it quite sad today that so many Israelites are trying to make peace with Esau. Esau already told you it's impossible. This is a demonic seed that we're dealing with here. And then many of you want to argue that Jacob and Esau came from the same parents, Rebekah and Isaac, so Esau somehow is the same people we are. However, it's been noted very well that these are two different nations of people. That Esau's seed was spoiled. That Esau mingled his seed with all the other nations. He even mixed his seed with the fallen hybrids from the offspring of the fallen angels. And we know that the fallen angels must have had a curse upon them because they were leprous, and they created leprous offspring. They created the giants, the Nephilim, as well as the Neanderthals. And the Neanderthals are the ancestors of the Caucasian people. In verse 21, 22, and 23, Esau is clearly telling Jacob by using strong metaphors to emphasize that their reconciliation is impossible. They will never be at peace. It says, and if the lion becomes friends with the ox and makes peace with him, and if he is bound under one yoke with him and plows with him, then will I make peace with you. We know this would never happen because a lion would devour an ox. Many of you know that Esau and Jacob have had a lifelong battle that continues through their descendants. The conflict between Esau and Jacob began before they were even born and have extended far beyond just them two, manifesting in the struggles between their descendants, Israel and Edom, throughout history and even today. So in my last two videos, we were talking about the destruction of Edom. And so what we're doing today is going back a little bit in time and kind of connecting the book of Obadiah and why Esau is going to be destroyed in his hatred for his brother. If you know the true story of Jacob and Esau, then you know that it was prophesied for Jacob to have the blessing. Jacob did not steal the blessing from Esau. You have to read the story in which is found in Genesis chapter 25, where Elohim reveals to Rebekah during her pregnancy that two nations were in her womb and that the older would serve the younger. This prophecy was fulfilled later in their lives, with Jacob receiving the blessing, with Jacob ultimately becoming the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, while Esau became the father of the Edomites, causing a great conflict between Jacob and Esau. Okay, so let's go back into Jubilees chapter 38. It reads, and after that Yehudah spoke to Yaakov his father and said unto him, bend your bow, father, and send forth your arrows, and cast down the adversary, and slay the enemy. And may you have the power, for we shall not slay your brother, for he is such as you, and he is like you. Let us give him this honor. So Judah told his father to go ahead and shoot his arrow at his uncle Esau. He didn't want to do it. He had honor and respect for his own uncle. Judah did not want to slay his own uncle because he said that he was like his father Jacob. But he did advise his own father to slay the enemy. Verse 2 goes on to say, then Yaakov bent his bow and sent forth the arrow and struck Esau, his brother, on his right breast, and slew him. And slew him. Did you catch that? And slew him. Verse 3, and again he sent forth an arrow and struck Adoran, the Aramean, on the left breast, and drove him backward and slew him. And then went forth the sons of Yaakov, they and their servants, dividing themselves into companies on the four sides of the tower. Verse 5, and Yehudah went forth in front, and Naphtali and Gad with him, and 50 servants with him on the south side of the tower, and they slew all of they found before them, and not one individual of them escaped. If you keep reading in this chapter, family, you will find that the Israelites were victorious. And they prevailed because they had the power of Yahuwah with them. Now do you understand why Esau's descendants continue to pursue the offspring of Jacob, the Israelites? Now it should make more sense as to why Esau continues to pursue Jacob with evil intent. The war between Esau's descendants and Jacob's sons, found in Jubilees chapter 37 and 38, reflects the prophecy in the book of Obadiah, where Esau's pride and aggression align with Obadiah chapter 1 verses 3 through 4, where Edom believes that it is untouchable. And it reads, the vision of Obadiah. Thus says Adonai Yahuwah concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from Yahuwah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You that dwell in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, thence will I bring you down, says Yahuwah. So at this point, Esau has a problem with Yahuwah. The conflict is no longer between Esau and Jacob. But the Most High will use his people to destroy you. And I think you know that. This is why you're so afraid. Obadiah 1 and 18 says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining. And there shall not be any remaining. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahuwah had spoke it. I'm trying to figure out, what do people think there shall not be any remaining mean? Many Israelites as well as Edomites seem to think that Esau is going to dwell with us in the kingdom. They think that there shall be none remaining of the house of Esau means they're going to the kingdom with us. I have a video of an Israelite woman saying that if God can't save Esau, then she can throw that God in the trash. These are the Israelites who own a copy of their history book, but do not understand it. They are caught up in the Christian doctrine and the replacement theology demonic doctrine. And the reason that access has been denied for the Israelites to understand their book is because they don't have the milk down. They don't understand that keeping the commandments is what's required in order to understand the Bible. They don't understand that they need to know stories in chronological order. They don't understand that they need to know that they are the Israelites of the Bible. And access to the deep mysteries and understanding of the Bible will continue to be denied until you, Hebrew Israelites, understand what role you play, understand you have commandments that you have to keep, understand who your ancestors are, understand who your enemy is, and understand who the other nations are. You need to know the basic genealogy, because all of those nations in the Bible under those ancient names like Cushite, Hittite, Jebusite, Perizzite, Hivite, Israelite, Edomite, all of those nations still exist today under modern names. One of the main advantages that society, with Esau being the top nation, that they have over Israel is the fact that they can put all of this information in plain sight, because our people are not going to read. We're not going to research. What we do is we wait for another Hebrew to put information out, and then we go on their platform and try to debunk what they're saying blindly. We have a knack for doing that, for going against our own people just because we're in love with another nation in which the Bible says this nation is our enemy. Esau told Jacob in the book of Jubilees that there is no way that we're going to have peace between us. He already told him this. The Most High said that these are in fact our enemies now. I don't care how you try to say they had the same mother, father, how you try to say they have the same bloodline, they're both Hebrews. It doesn't matter what you say at this point. The proof is in the pudding. These are our enemies, and they will continue to destroy you until you get back into the Most High's good graces. When you return to the covenant by keeping my commandments. Okay, before I go, I just want to show you this in Deuteronomy 30. It says, "And it shall come to pass when all these things shall come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among the nations where Yahuwah Elohika has driven you, and shall return unto Yahuwah Elohika, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all of your heart and with all of your soul. That then Yahuwah Elohika will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Yahuwah Elohika has scattered you." This concludes my video. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for subscribing and supporting. May Yahuwah Baruch you all. And remember Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. "He that endures unto the end, the same shall be saved." And until my next video, Shalom.
All right. Fear the unknown. The house of Israel was chose, but it is not a home. Got traditions in the way of clearing out our soul. House is not a home. House full of frozen treasures, ungrateful. House of broken promises, unfaithful. House ain't been the same since the stolen names. Look in the mirror and don't recognize the faces. House is not a home. Look, stuck in a drunk state, unconscious. Pineal gland unresponsive. What you know about the afterlife in 7 stages? Peep it, a prophet is eating, and people like preachers feed you a lie like a demon is talking. I'm a speaker till the sneakers fall off. Came out of Egypt with they skin dark, still healing from scars. House is not a home, nah. And it's Yah over everything. Reason for your next breath. King Derek, spreading Yah's message is my best yet. Evil is embedded, remaining sleep is your next threat. I know where the world is headed. I know what it takes to be one of you. And I know why you put me here. The plagues will begin to consume. I'm talking 2020, yeah, I got the clearest of views. House is not a home, got skeletons in the living room. House is not a home. The house of Israel was chose, but it is not a home. Got traditions in the way of clearing out our soul. House is not a home. House full of frozen treasures, ungrateful. House of broken promises, unfaithful. House ain't been the same since the stolen names. Look in the mirror and don't recognize the